questions.
I do.
She's like, I do, and humble too, I love it.
You promised us the amusement park being at the fountain.
Yes, okay. Okay, I have to put this down. Okay, so how many who here was at the Black Butler panel? Okay, most of you. Okay, so we brought up clowns and the fact that I'm terrified of clowns. Having said that, please, if any of you come up to me dressed as a clown, I will either run away, if you're lucky, or I will kill you. Not kidding. Quite a few years ago, I was 20-something, and freshly emerged from the wreckage of my teens, you know, so I was kind of a dark, brooding fellow with long hair down to my waist. Try to picture that, if you will. The sort of person and your hair takes like a full minute to get all the way around your head. And as you walk down the street, especially if you're wearing like a black t-shirt and like the boots up to here or something, and I had piercings all over the place. It was very dreadful. I mean, it was hot, but it was dreadful looking. You know, when I walked down the street and like mothers would cleave their children a little closer to them. Old people would walk the other way. You know, whatever. It was great. It was wonderful. I enjoyed that power. I was at an amusement park near where I live now that is Halloween themed. During the month of October and much of November they do. It's like a really cheesy but really fun Halloween theme park. They have multiple haunted houses and a haunted hayride and stuff, and there's free-range ghosts and ghoulies walking around to scare you and goose you and throw things at you, and it's delightful. And you pay like a fee at the door, and the whole park is your playground. Well, I went with a couple of friends of mine who had season passes, and wow, this was fun. And I decided to have a few drinks, perhaps, before I went. Maybe, allegedly, I had some drinks before going. Because the only thing more fun than being scared is being drunk while being scared. And, you know, so I go around this park, and we're having a ball, and I love this kind of stuff. I love going to haunted houses, and like, nothing scares me. I scream and I laugh, but I love it. It's straight, like nothing, I'm telling the clown story. It's a good story. So me and my friends get out of one house, and the first thing I notice is there's a clown. Two clowns, actually. A tall fat one and a short fat one. And they're horrible clowns. They're like the hoop skirt waists, and the gigantic boat feet, and the rainbow hair, and the nose, and the horns on the belts, and the gloves, and the demon face, like, you know, mask thing. I mean, it was horrid. My nightmare. And so here I am walking through all these houses going, yeah, you can't scare me. Oh my God! Well, they see this, and they're with the park. They're like one of the free rangers. Their job is to go around and, you know, boo, and scare you, and jump out of things, and make you piss yourself. Or just make me piss myself. And once they saw that they'd scared me, oh, well, they couldn't resist. They started stalking us. So I am getting angry and upset, and I am getting like, oh, I can't deal with this, I can't deal with this, I can't deal with this. Pardon me if I let a few curse words fly, because the memory of this still just innervates me. But I would turn around, and my friends were like, okay, come on, just go. And they all, my fear of clowns and my reaction was legendary, so my friends were like, oh crap, let's get them away. And I'm sitting there, and every week, every house we go into, hey, fun, ghost stuff would come out. There are the clowns again, Jesus Christ. Just waiting like a horror movie, like the twins in The Shining. Hey. And this kept on for the better part of what seemed like an eternity, and my friends were like, you need to calm down. I can't calm down because there's goddamn clowns behind me. I want to kill them and just run, and I can't run because, So we're in line for some like slushy, some lemon ice or something, so my friend's like, you need to sober up real quick. I'm like, it's not gonna make a difference. And I'm sitting there in line behind like a few people that are like watching, like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Like this big guy looks like Peter Steele from like Typo Negative. 3 people left, I'm old, and you know, and I'm terrified of these freaking clowns. They're about 20 feet away from me now and back, just standing there taunting me, occasionally laughing, occasionally doing the wave thing. And I keep looking back, and I'm like, fuck you, clown! I hate you! I mean, I'm just like taunting them. I think I'm doing better. I think I'm doing better. I'm not going to turn around, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. I can't resist. I turn around one last time. And one of them has a horn, he just goes, to which I'm like, oh, I ran and took him the hell down. And like that scene in a Christmas Story where the bully finally just snaps, and the kid like, no, and he's like, motherfucker. And his little fat, short clown friend is like, hey, and I'm like, bah! crying all the while, by the way. So it doesn't look tough. It looks like I'm about to kill this poor son of a bitch. I'm like, and he is on the ground just like in self-defense. He's just playing possum now, or I've actually killed him. I don't know. I'm just beating him to a bloody clown pulp. You are nothing but circus poo. Well, then security came over and they're like, "You have to go, sir," which is a nice translation for them roughly tearing me off this poor clown, and I was being the guy. It's like, "Oh, I guess I gotta go, everybody." And my friends were like, "You can sit your happy ass out in the parking lot. We're gonna enjoy the rest of this park. We'll see you in a few hours. Go wait by the car, asshole." So this is me for the rest of the evening. Was just sitting there in their car in the parking lot going, "Stupid clown." So, I nearly killed a man. What's wrong with you people? Well, he wasn't a man, he was a clown. Still, he was a man once. Presumably, you still, my lord, with Bunny Sebastian on your arm. Go with the question.
I do. My question is, if you could change one thing about Sebastian, what would you change?
More lines. No, I wouldn't change anything about him. He's perfect. I want them to continue the story. I want to see more of where they're going. That's the only thing I would change. That's just, I think that may be happening anyway. I don't know. Don't quote me, but I've heard rumors of there being more, because rumors are rumors are rumors. You in the back, we go to the back again.
Japan is actually making a third season of Black Butler.
See, that's what you say. Do you know that for a fact? Yay. Now, there we go, my prayers have been answered. I would love to reprise the role of Sebastian. Oh, people are leaving, I'm sorry. We bore you, darling. Do you just have to go to the bathroom? It's okay, we'll wait, go.
We're getting foods.
What?
We're getting foods.
You're getting food?
Yes.
Weak. Bring some back for the rest of the class. Cute man with glasses there in the corner.
Hi. So, two of my favorite roles of yours are Isaac and Okabe.
Ah!
They're very, very close to my heart. They're fantastic.
You look like you could be either one of them.
Oh, well, I'll try.
Back off.
Well,
Sorry, go on.
Harry, my dear, let us live to fight another day. No,
God, I love you.
don't worry.
Here is my hotel room key. What?
Now, one of the things about Isaac in particular is that he's kind of a very comedic character.
Sorry.
He's a very comedic, very over-the-top character, same as Okabe.
Absolutely, yeah.
However, you managed to really nail their more serious lines and scenes that they do have.
I'm gonna start crying because Okabe just does that to me. Sorry. No, go on, please. Go on.
I also wondered if it's difficult, really, to take a character has a very kind of, comedic, kind of over-the-top kind of voice and really nail the seriousness with them. Have you ever had problems with that?
God, that's a damn good question. I have to. I can't just BS my way through this one. I've got to think about this. No, let me explain. I'm really thrilled that you see and hear the connective tissue between those two very different personalities when you get right down to it. Okabe from Steins Gate. How many Steins Gate fans do we have in here? The rest of you suck. I'm kidding. Steins Gate's an amazing show, and I've been plugging it all week, and I plug it everywhere I go because it's quite simply the single best thing I've ever gotten to work on. And I was able to write the adaptive scripts along with Patrick Seitz, who you probably know best as Germany. There's also Agni in Black Butler. He's an amazing writer, and we got to write the adaptive scripts for Steins Gate, and it's some of the best stuff we've ever been able to do. I also got to play Okabe, the main character in that series, and it's a series, a really funny but ultimately very heartbreaking. Well, I wouldn't even say ultimately heartbreaking. It's an emotional roller coaster of a show about, shall we say, the psychological side effects of time travel. Very realistically done, and I just put myself in that role in a way that I've done with few characters, and it was kind of scary, but I'll get to that. Isaac from Baccano. How many Baccano fans do we have? Proof of civilization right there. Baccano is also an amazingly fun show, but Isaac and Miria are two marvelous creations, and getting to work alongside Caitlin Glass is amazing. Someone once asked me a question about my feelings on Isaac and how challenging is it to play such an idiot. And Isaac seems to be an idiot. I mean, he's dunderheaded and says things like, a centipede with many hundreds of legs. And you're like, okay. But he is big and over the top, and he is this and that, and everything sort of comes out. He's got some of that cheesy 1950s TV dad voice, you know, which was intentional because I looked at him and the way he acted, and he's one of those people for whom the entire world is a stage, whether they're watching him or not. And somebody asked me, was it like playing stupid? I'm like, I don't think they're stupid at all. I think they're geniuses. And let me explain. I think they're geniuses in the sense that they sort of come pre-packaged with the kind of mind that, dissatisfied with reality as it's handed to them, almost instinctively misinterprets things as they are, just to ignite this continual sense of play. To them, life is a ball, it's a party. They're constantly cosplaying, they're constantly getting themselves into the most ridiculous adventures. And no two people in all of anime are more in love with each other than they two. They are absolutely romantic, and I love them. They're like Time Lords without a TARDIS. Given a TARDIS, holy shit. But they're the kind of character that's really fun to play because I believe in what they stand for. I believe in that philosophy, and all of you do too, whether you know it or not, because you're all here having fun, and if you could, you'd do this every goddamn day of your lives, and why not? I encourage you to. So getting to play Isaac is really easy because I just got sucked in. I'm like, I love this guy, and it is an honor. I would get really animated in the booth because Isaac was the first character I played that was so over the top that I found I had to get really big and ridiculous and do things like, yes, la 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 la, and Tyler Walker and Corey Charlotte would be out there, the engineer and the director, and they'd be like, what the hell are you doing there? This is a character, shut up! One time I was actually in the booth doing this. While talking, don't know why, it just seemed to, the voice seemed to demand it, and it came out exactly like that because I was, yes, la la la. And Tyler was like, I'm just filming this. You look ridiculous, you look stupid. It's amazing, the voice is great, but please just don't hurt yourself. 2 hours later, we jumped to a scene where Isaac and Miria, and I hadn't seen this yet, we're doing it. Yes! I win, Tyler, screw you. He's like, no, I think you look like such an ass that it's actually somehow going through the ether back in time and infecting the animator's mind who's making this to make Isaac and Mary look more like an ass than he really is. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, thank you. So that was amazing. Moving on to, oh wait, let me tell a quick other anecdote. One of my favorite con experiences involving Isaac and Miria was in Boston several years ago. The show had just come out and everyone was just loving on it, which is great for us. We love when something we really, really had fun with, everyone is responding to, like a homeroom pizza party. And it was opening ceremonies, and I had to pee like a racehorse. I'm like, give me 2 seconds, I'm just gonna run to this bathroom out here. No one will know. I'm like, oh, okay, be careful. Have fun, make good choices. So off I go. And as I'm washing my hands at the sink, there's a guy dressed like Cowboy Isaac right next to me, washing his hands, and I'm like, so I'm like, excuse me, are you cosplaying Isaac from Baccano? No kidding, he goes, yes, as a matter of fact, holy shit! And then jumps on me, we're like, it was fantastic. He dragged me out of the bathroom, our hands were still wet from the sink. God, you people, get your minds out of the gutter. I know, that's what I thought too. And I'm like, I wash my hands. Went out to meet his girlfriend, who was dressed as Miria, and they looked amazing. And I kept running into them at other cons, and every time they would go, they would be cosplaying as a different version. So at some point, they did something like 12 costume changes at the same con. It was fabulous. Okabe from Steins Gate. Yeah! Oh my god. Okabe from Steins Gate is... When I wrote the adaptations, generally the way it goes when you're working on scripts for a show that has yet to be recorded, we do the first 6 scripts, the team does. They're turned in, the audition signs are made from that batch of scripts, and then the show is cast, they start recording it, and then once the writers know who is cast and what, then we start writing the rest of the show. So there's a great deal of overlap in recording and writing. So much of it's going on at the same time. So when I got cast as Okabe, I thought, are you kidding me? Because I'm writing this and I don't want to do that. That's incredibly stressful. I hate being in something I've written if it's the main character because it's a lot of pressure. It feels like it's all on you. Mind you, Colleen Clinkenbeard is a marvelous director, but she can only do so much with a crap script or an actor that can't get his way around a thorny line. And if you're in the booth and if you can't make the line work, you're like, well, if I can't make this work, it's either because I'm a crap actor or a crap writer. So it was really, really stressful, and I put a lot of myself into those scripts because I felt like I knew Okabe too. Okabe is sort of like Isaac in that he's sort of this quixotic, crazy person who's, well, he's not crazy. He knows reality, but he chooses to believe differently because he's an outsider. He doesn't really fit in. And we've all had friends like this, by the way, and often we are these people ourselves. We're the sort of person who just loves to stir up interesting things, to have a little drama, not for any bad reason, but because it makes life interesting and because those people are really fun to watch wear themselves out. But that's what he is, and so he walks around pretending to be a mad scientist, and he is actually pretty good at science, it turns out, and all his friends are like, oh my god, you're insane, and he makes these, declamatory statements all the time, and he calls his friend Hack, and, you're lab member number 4, and blah, 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 and he has this whole myth in his head about the organization which are taking over the world, and he's there to thwart them as an evil scientist somehow. And it's beautiful, it's this beautiful sort of play that he's just having in his own head, but when they discover how to send text messages back in time, accidentally, and they start playing with this technology, shit gets real very, very quickly. And I had, again, let me drop the F-bomb for this, because while I was writing this show at episode 12 has the most severe shockwave of a cliffhanger that I have ever seen in anything, any genre, live action or animated. When I saw it, when I was doing the pre-work on the show as a writer, I thought, oh my god, everything changes so dramatically, and yet it was coming from way back when. If you were paying attention, you knew this was happening. My boyfriend at the time watched me write this. I'm in tears writing this episode, and then when the first 12 episodes came out, it was going to be a few more months before the last 12 came out, so there's going to be quite a gap between cliffhanger and, oh my god, what happened next? Oh my god! We're watching this together, and I'm like, are you sure you want to watch this with me? Because you're going to get to that cliffhanger, you're going to hate it. He's like, no, I kind of see what's coming, it's fine, I can handle this. Grew up watching Doctor Who, I know all about cliffhangers. And we get to that cliffhanger, he turns to me and goes, fuck you. Got up, left the room for a few minutes, came back, no, seriously, fuck you. And I had to deal with that for 2 months before the rest of it came out. But the thing about what happens is that, Okabe, who's very Isaac-like in many respects, he's sort of a younger version of Isaac, things get real, and he starts you begin to understand that his whole personality is just a defense mechanism. It's a coping mechanism for how he feels about life. He doesn't know how to relate to people. He's awkward. He's out of touch. He doesn't really know where he fits in. So he makes himself dramatic and ridiculous. He makes himself the sort of person that other people have to deal with, whether they like it or not. And so he'll take good attention, bad attention, whatever. He's that sort of person. I can relate deeply to that. And when he's unable to rely on that facet of his personality anymore, when that strips away and he has to get real and human, it's just heartbreaking to watch. There is a scene, and I'm gonna start crying just talking about it, so forgive me. But there's a scene, oh, you're crying, yes, I'm human. There's a scene, and you know the scene I'm talking about, I'm sure, when he is, I don't want to give away spoilers, so forgive me if I speak about it in the abstract, but he is pleading for the life of his best friend at peril to his own, and he's essentially saying, please, I am nothing, I am shit, no one believes me, and he is crying, and it is extraordinarily real. Getting goosebumps just remembering. I was crying when I wrote the scene, knowing in like a month we'd be recording it, and I'm thinking, oh god, I don't want to do this scene, I don't want to do the scene, I don't want to do the scene. We did the scene. A month later, I was in the booth, and Colleen was ready to go, and she's like, oh my god, this is such like my favorite moment of the whole show. Like, it is like the pivotal moment. And I started doing it. You get in character, and Okabe's never very far away to begin with, and I'm sitting there, and mind you, for months now, I've been both recording and writing this, so I never really got away from Okabe. There was never time. I'd be recording for 8 hours a day, then go home and write for another 5, and then sleep for 4 or 5, get up, repeat cycle, and this went on for 6 months. So all my friends were like, we love you, where's Michael? I don't know, he'll come back in a few months. Ha! Leave the room. So there I am in the booth, and I'm acting Okabe. and I'm, there he is, and I'm pleading for the life of his friend, and it suddenly becomes my friend, and suddenly this line between Michael and Okabe completely disappears, and I started crying, and I couldn't stop, and I kept pleading, and the line was done, and I'm still pleading with the character, and Colleen is like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay." I'm crying. I'm like, "Dad, I gotta do it. I gotta go. Colleen's like, she's very professional. She gets up, she hugs me. She's like, "Go get some water, splash some water in your face. Do what you need to do. Take yourself about 5, 10, 15, whatever. Just, breathe deeply. Find Michael again. Because Okabe's got the reins, and it's a little scary." So I go and I collect myself miserably, and then I come back, and she's like, "Well, honey, the good news is we don't have to get another take." I'm like, "Thank God," because I'm never doing that again. And then come to find out, that was just one of many such scenes in the last half of the show, where there is constantly just him being very, very real, and it's indescribably beautiful as an actor, because you learn something about yourself in the process. Somewhere inside of me there's an Okabe, and oh my God, he's the only character to date that I was so close to that I felt I had to do something kind of ritualistic to get him out of my system when we were done. I had bought a lab coat. He's always wearing a lab coat, and I bought it when I was writing the show, and I would wear the lab coat like a nerd when I was writing it. I wouldn't wear it in the booth because that's kind of unprofessional. It would freak out Colleen, who's like, "Okay, you are losing your mind. Maybe I should have cast you." Like, too late! But I did have that when I was writing it, and so I did this really cool thing where I took it out back, and I have a nice little big yard, and I burned it when we were done. Just as kind of like a Viking funeral, not like, "Screw you!" Like a, proper Viking funeral. If I had a lake, I'd sit it on a lake or something, but I don't have a lake. Viking funeral, get it? Steins. Oh my God, how much time do I have left, by the way? Because I just talked for 30 minutes about 2 characters. 15? I thought we were like 15 minutes, keep talking.